Most people don't call it perfectionism. They say they're driven, ambitious, just holding themselves to a higher standard. It starts with good intentions, a little extra effort, a quiet hope that if they try hard enough, they'll finally feel like enough. But perfection isn't a finish line, it's more like a moving target. The more you chase it, the more you lose sight of the life you're actually living. But what does perfectionism actually look like? Not in theory, but in everyday life, behind the scenes, beneath the surface. Perfectionism doesn't always look like pressure. Sometimes it looks like discipline, like planning every detail, double checking, starting over, waiting until things feel just right. On the outside, it looks controlled, but on the inside, it feels like fear. Fear of making the wrong choice, fear of being seen as ordinary, fear that if you're not exceptional, you'll be invisible. So you try to control what you can, your work, your image, your outcomes, because control feels like safety. Like maybe if everything is flawless, nothing can fall apart. But that's the trap, because life isn't flawless. It's uncertain, it's unpredictable, unruly. The more you try to control it, the more exhausted you become. So while perfectionism might not look like pressure at first, over time, that's exactly what it becomes. Endless, quiet, aching pressure to perform, to prove, to achieve, to never, ever let your guard down. When the pressure gets too heavy, it doesn't break you, it freezes you, not from apathy, but from caring too much. You stare at the blank page, you rehearse the message but never send it. You delay starting because what if it's not right? And if it's not right, what does that say about you? So you wait, you tweak, you plan, you perfect. You call it procrastination, but really, it's fear in disguise. Deep down, you'd rather not try than to try and fail, because failure doesn't like that didn't work. It feels like I'm not good enough. So perfection becomes paralysis. You don't move forward, you don't let go, you don't finish. You stay stuck in the middle, always preparing, never arriving. And a life full of almosts quietly piles up. And even when you do push through, the reward feels hollow, because perfection doesn't leave room for pride, only pressure. Even when perfectionists do finish something, the joy is short-lived. There's always something you missed, something that could have been better, some imagined person who would have done it perfectly. So instead of pride, you feel pressure. Instead of satisfaction, you feel scrutiny. The goalpost moves, the high wears off, and success becomes just another thing you're scared you didn't do right enough. You tell yourself to keep going, that next time it'll feel different, but it doesn't, because perfection doesn't let you celebrate, it only lets you survive. And the scariest part? No one else can see it. To them, you look successful, but to you, it never feels like enough. But those standards didn't come from nowhere. They were built, shaped by what you were told, what you weren't told, and what the world rewarded. Perfectionism isn't something we're born with, it's something we learn, piece by piece. Maybe you were praised for being the smart one, or the responsible one. Maybe mistakes weren't safe in your house, maybe love felt conditional. Or maybe you just grew up in a world that only celebrated you when you were achieving, winning, impressing. So you kept proving, kept pushing, and along the way, you learned. You are what you accomplish. And in social media, where everyone looks flawless, curated, filtered, successful, and suddenly it feels like anything less than perfect is invisible. But that isn't real life. It's a highlight reel built on fear and polished until it gleams. So what does perfectionism really cost? Maybe you never started that thing you love, the book, the trip, the side project, because it never felt like the right time. Maybe you never said how you felt, never reached out, because you didn't know if you'd say it perfectly. Maybe you look like you have it all together, but inside, you're tired, you're lonely, you're afraid. Perfectionism steals time, it steals peace, it steals connection, because it tells you, don't try unless you're sure you'll succeed. Don't rest unless you've earned it. Don't show up unless you're flawless. And little by little, that voice becomes your own. But what if the answer isn't to try harder? What if the answer is to let go? Because trying to be perfect doesn't just affect how you feel, it affects your health. Research has linked perfectionism to anxiety, depression, burnout, even serious mental health risks. Not because people aren't capable, but because they believe they have to be perfect to deserve rest, to deserve love, to deserve peace. You don't have to be perfect to be worthy. You don't have to get it right every time to matter. You were never meant to be flawless. You were meant to be real, to show up as you are, unfinished, imperfect, and still enough. Perfection isn't the goal, it never was. What matters is that you're here, still trying, still human, and that's more than enough. If this hit close to home, share it with someone who's always trying to get it right. Someone who stays up late reworking the same thing, overthinking every word, never feeling like they've done enough. Let them know they're not alone. And maybe, let yourself off the hook too.